What is up, maniacs, and welcome to Broadened Horizon. I'm your host, Drake Riggs, here to bring you episode 38. On this installment of the series, we'll be joined by a trio of great guests. To kick things off, we'll have the return of Rizin lightweight champion Roberto Satoshi de Souza, who will recap his flawless victory over Kita Nakamura at Rizin Landmark 9 and talk about his next move. After Satoshi, Juan Archuleta stops by to look back on his big bantamweight scrap with Kai Asekura. Juan was recently booked to return to the featherweight division for a matchup with Kleber Koike. However, we caught up with him before the bout became official. And last but not least, former Rizin flyweight and now PFL title hopeful Kana Watanabe comes back to Broaden Horizon to talk about the tournament format and her debut win over Shanna Young. Thanks as always to our great guests for chatting, and thanks to everyone who supports the show, whether you've been watching on MMAmania.com, YouTube, or listening on Spotify. Thanks as always, and don't forget to hit like and share if you enjoy. And returning to the show, it is the lightweight champion, Roberto Satoshi de Souza. Roberto, man, always great to see you, champ. I mean, how you doing? How's the family? How's life right now?
Now it's good. It's good. Everybody, the kids get bigger. I have my young daughter make 1 year in the last month. I won my last fight, and just good things.
Yeah. So things are good, man. And so happy birthday to your daughter. That's awesome. Very cool, man. And how was Kobe? Yeah, congrats on the win, of course, man. But how was the city? Did you get to do any exploring or fun stuff like that while you were there?
Yeah, for sure. Because this time is the first time my all brothers watching my fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think this time just my mom in Brazil. So, man, this in the day of the fight is a special day, for me. It's the first time my all brothers there, and the first time my daughter there too. Because before my daughters is young, and maybe too much loud for her. So like that, this time is the first time my three daughters in the stadium and watching my fight. So, man, it's amazing. I love Kobe.
Yeah. Perfect, man. Great memories indeed. That's really cool. So, I mean, was that kind of some extra pressure? I mean, good motivation, of course, but did you have to take that kind of positively to be like, all right, I really can't lose now?
Yeah, for sure. Like I won the fight for sure. It's so special for me. But if I lost the fight for sure. It's a bad day in my life, because front my daughter, my brothers.
Yeah, would never be good, man. But don't have to worry about that because incredible performance, man. Like seriously, some really good stuff there, and like just how happy were you with it, Roberto? Because I mean, this was maybe the best performance of your career. I mean, especially as a striker, dude, you looked completely different, incredible, just improved in all areas.
Man, I talk this a lot for the people, for my students. Man, I work so hard. But sometimes I can show this for in the fight. But this time I so focused for this. And I know a lot of people think he gonna beat me in the striker game. Like that, I trained so hard for this. I trained with my coach, striking coach, Suzuki, Hiroaki Suzuki, and he helped me a lot in this. He coached me for using my kicks. And I know he's a southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
He is a bit different, but that I trained this so hard. I train a lot this kick in the inside, the head kick, and this is funny, but I watching a lot the Charles Oliveira fight, Charles the Bronx, when he fight the Benio Dariush,
Yeah.
and in the time I give the kick is a little bit same when the Charles Oliveira give the kick in the Darius too. But that I train for this. I train for get a surprise for everybody. I think a lot of people think I just do one, two, or three punches and go to takedown. But this time I train for this. I train for the striking game.
That's amazing, man. It's funny. I was going to ask you about that. I didn't realize you had trained and watched Oliveira's fight because I saw a video that was a side by side of you guys doing like the kick the same way. So that's really crazy that you managed to pull it off that way. That's got to feel good, right?
Yeah, because I think don't the base like when he's striking, he's more like I stand up.
Mhm.
I when I use my striking really for get just forget the close and go the takedown. But he inspiration me a lot. He in game inspiration me a lot in the fights.
Yeah, and I mean the kicks, man, they were a really big thing, and you could see just in the fight how much you had been working on them because of how great your technique was, and whether it was low, whether it was high with the head kicks, they were all working well. So like, is that kind of a nice strike to have? Your kicking game be strong in your striking game because it's like, if somebody catches it or something and takes you down, then you're nice and comfortable because of your jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is my striking coach tell me a lot too. Because I don't worry about if the when I kick the guy grab my leg and put me down. For me, it's fine too. And I think this fight is good for me too because I think my confidence changed too. I think now I start believing more, and for sure, I think I'm gonna use more strike in my games.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'm curious, Roberto, like did you feel that it was important to focus on your striking this much after the Pitbull fight? Because I'm sure that that was one where, you learned a lot going against a guy like him.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think if for the now in the next fights, I think people respect me for more. I think now when I gonna fight, people don't just think about in my grappling game. People need looking more. Need to worry about more. In my skills.
Yeah, dangerous guy everywhere. And I mean, you always have been, right? But it's just now you kind of, the style looked a little bit different, man. Like I think if somebody watched this fight for the first time and they didn't know you were an amazing jiu-jitsu guy, they wouldn't know, right? Is that something to be proud of and be like, yeah, I can fool some people now?
Yeah, this is I want. Like that. I trained so hard for the strike, and I trained so hard for show this for everybody. I want the people to respect me in my striking game too.
Yeah, man, and this was a great fight to do it because I don't know if you knew this, Roberto, but you now are like the only the second guy to have beaten Nakamura by strikes. He's had like 40 fights, right? And you're the second guy to ever do that.
Yeah, I see this in Sherdog. I think he lost just one time in the striking, one time submission. After that, just decision.
Hmm.
Like that for me, yeah, for sure. I have for this too. Just me in Japan, just me beat him in the striking game. And I have to because he fight for a long time in UFC.
Hmm.
Like that he fight for the good guys and good level too.
So I mean, when you kind of see something like that, and you know how tough that he is, and I mean, he still didn't even really go down, right? You just had to beat him up until the referee stopped it. But were you kind of surprised that you were? Did you surprise yourself by making the fight only like 2 minutes? You got him out of there pretty quickly.
Really, I train for that. Like
Hmm.
that. I think it's gonna be more longer, but I train for that. And when I start hit him, I feel I see in his eyes, him surprise,
Hmm.
because when he come for put pressure on me, he looks, he faces like I gonna beat you here, man. But when I start hit him like in the kicks in the punch, I see in his eyes like, hey, he start beating me in my game. And like that, in this moment, I feel, man, I gonna finish this fight quickly. Like that, I give the head kick, and when he go in the ground, I don't feel like him power, his skills, because I know when I hit him in the head kick, he feel it.
Hmm.
Like that. In this time, I feel, man, I'm gonna finish this fight now.
Of course, man. Of course. And like, do you feel, Roberto, that you're the best you've ever been now? Like, most confident and just like overall at the best in terms of your performance? Because again, that was just such a different kind of style we've seen from you.
I think all fights when I finish the all fight when I won when I lost I get better, you
Mhm.
know. Like when I lost to AJ, I lost for decision, you know, but I think it's a close fight. I get my confidence is better, and after that I fight to Spike Carlisle, is a strong guy too, you know. I won for decision, but I think the one fight get me a lot of confidence, and when I fight the Patrick Pitbull, you know, and because man, I just get the fight in the weekend. The fight I get like 5 or 6 days before the fight, and man, I can fight with him for 3 rounds, you know, in him game. I just stand up. I broke my hand in the first round, and you know, I feel confidence after this fight. I lost. I feel the kick in my leg, but after this fight, I think, man, I fight with this guy 5 days before, you know, and I think I can fight anyone if I ready, you know. If I have the time to prepare the fight, like if the Rising tell me for like 2 months ago, man, everybody, anyone, I can fight. I think now after this fight too, you know, I so exciting. I want to fight the best fighters in the world again, you know.
Yeah, totally, man. And of course, that was kind of crazy situation with Patricky. So a rematch would be fun at some point with the regular amount of preparation time. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, I thought this for the Rising, but this is the Rising decision, you know. But I want again, AJ and Patricky.
Hmm.
I want again.
Yeah, those would be some fun ones, man. And so, I mean, with that in mind, Roberto, like looking on to what's next, they're both kind of busy with their PFL and Bellator stuff, right? But in terms of Ryzen and maybe your next title defense, like, do you have somebody in mind of who you kind of think might get the title shot next? Because when I look at it, it looks like Luis Gustavo might be the guy. He's on a good winning streak right now. I'm sure you've been watching him, fellow Brazilian. Like, who do you think might be next for you?
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think it's Luis Gustavo too. You know, he deserve. I think he 5 fights, one. He
I,
one
I think it's
is
4 or 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
four fights straight. One, you know. I think he deserve, but I don't know. I think in the last fight he hurt the hand,
Mm.
so like that I don't know. He get ready soon, and because he got a hurt, I think maybe Patrick, but Patrick in the tournament, the PFL now, so like that he's hard too, and like that I think in the AJ, because AJ is in the Bellator and the PFL, but he don't in the tournament. But really, like in the Rising guys, I think he's the Gustavo. He's a good striker. It's gonna be fun match, and for me, it's gonna be nice fight too. You know.
Yeah, that would be definitely a fun one, man. And I'm curious though, Roberto, like when I think about the matchup and everything, I've always heard there's kind of been this, I don't know, narrative or whatever you want to call it, but like that Brazilians don't like to fight Brazilians. Is that a real thing, or do you have no issue there?
Yeah, really. I know in history, you know, I know when he started the game, you know, I know for because I born, you know, I live in Brazil, and
Hmm.
I know the fight and get up there is so hard, you know. Like that, yeah, this is true. Brazilians don't like fighting Brazilians, you know. I talked to him sometimes when he fight in Japan. This is funny because in the last fight when he won the last fight, we come back to the hotel in the same bus,
Okay.
and my friends Kleber in front of me, and sometimes Luis Gustavo Kleber talk, and he talked to Kleber, hey man, you is here, you know. And when he see me in the back, he got a little bit surprised. But I thought, hey man, congratulations for today. Just wait. When I won my next fight is me and you for the title shot, you know. And he say, yeah, you know, don't talk too much, but he say, yeah, maybe in the next time.
Yeah, of course. I know I've talked to Luis a couple of times as well, and he's a very quiet guy, but very dangerous inside the ring. It's like he switches personalities.
Yeah, this is fun because I think the outside in the cage, he's like a little bit shy guy.
Yeah.
He don't talk too much. He's funny with his friends. When
Mhm.
he close with his friends, he's talk, you know. But I think he's the shine guy. But in the cage, he changed.
Yes.
In the cage, he's so savage guy.
Yeah, he's got that killer nickname for a reason, man. So that would be a fun fight for sure. And you mentioned Kleber there, of course. Love both of you guys. Love chatting with both of you guys, watching you guys fight and everything. And then we mentioned Patricky as well. I want to hear your side of the story though, Satoshi, because there was, I don't remember which event it was at, but when Kleber was getting in the fight with him backstage and everything, what kind of happened there? Were you around for that?
You know that? You don't know that? Really? Like Kleber fight to Patricio and he lost, and after that, sometimes I talk to Patricky,
Mm,
and after that, Kleber talk sometimes, but not like a good friend. But Kleber talk sometimes with Patricio, like, good luck in the next fight, just something like that. And when Patricio fights to Chihiro Suzuki,
hmm
Kleber beat Chihiro Suzuki like 1 month ago. I don't remember, I think 1 or 2 months ago.
hmm
And when Chihiro Suzuki beat Patricio, Kleber just celebration like, wow, I beat this guy 1 month ago, and
Right.
now he beat Patricio. This is good for him.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. It's good for Kleber because Kleber beat him like 2 months ago, and for sure for this is good for the Kleber name in Japan because people think Chihiro beat Patricio, but Kleber beat Chihiro.
Right.
And he celebrates like, wow, he beat the Patricio, and I won him 1 month ago. But inside the ring, when Patricio looked at, Patrick is so mad. Like, why you celebrating?
Right.
He beat my brother. I understand, like Patricky, because
Yeah.
you talk to me, why you celebration when I lost? I understand a little bit his feeling, but it's like I don't know, it's hard. Patrick don't like because this, but Kleber not celebration he lost. Kleber celebration because he beat the Chihiro 1 month ago. But after that, outside in the ring, the guys go in the Patrick go outside in the ring, gonna talk to Kleber and push Kleber, and Kleber gonna talk to Rising staffs. Patrick do that, and the guy say, we're gonna talk to him, but I think the Rising don't do nothing.
hmm
And when Kleber talk to the Bellator staffs, I think it's the same. The Bellator don't do nothing. And after that, now the guys don't more friends. I think after that I talked to Patrick more 2 times.
hmm
And me and Patrick and Patricio, no problem. I talk with the guys sometimes, but I think now Kleber, no more friends.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit of a miscommunication, seeing him out there just celebrating and, them thinking the wrong thing. So that's just
Yeah.
a fight game, right? That's just how it goes sometimes. But all right, Roberto. Well, as you're moving along, I won't leave you too much longer here, man. But I got to ask you, though, as continuing on with the year and off to a great start with this big win here in the last fight, like, what are your goals for this year, man? Do you have some things that you kind of want to accomplish specifically, whether it's in fighting or just in life in general, man? What are some things you wanna do this year?
Really, this year I want to protect more my belt in the Rising because sometimes I fight with Bellator guys, so not a title shot.
Mm.
So like that, I want this year make a more 2 or 3 fights if I can, more 3. But I want defense the belt. I think it's good for the keep my division exciting. Like I still with this belt for 3 years, but it's a long time I don't defense my belt. So this year my focus more for defense the belt in the Rising. So like that, I want to fight the first with Luis Gustavo,
hmm
and after that, if the Rising want put the belt in the game for the like a PFL guys or Bellator guys, for me it's fine too. But this year I want to fight more in Japan.
Oh yeah, love that, man, and I think we can make that happen. So there's a lot of good, fun possibilities out there. we'll see how soon we can get that Gustavo fight happening. But until then, man, get to kick back, relax, and keep living it up. Great time to be the champ right now. So I'll let you go on that note, Roberto. But congratulations again on the great win. I'm glad that things are all going well with you, man. Always great catching up, and always wishing you the best. So just thanks for taking the time, man. We'll catch up again in the future. But until then, just enjoy life and keep living it up, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Always. Thanks for the support for the interview. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Next up, it's the Spaniard, Juan Archuleta. Oh, Gucci. All right, what's up, Juan? My guy, how you doing? Back in Japan, brother?
Sure. Doing good.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. I mean, what brought you to Japan this week, man? Right, you're cornering Kyohei, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, came to watch KO have fight and just come check out the event and be part of it.
I mean, always happy to take a trip to Japan these days, right? Awesome, man. I mean, how is he looking in this camp? How are you feeling confident? Think of the matchup with Takeda. I mean, just how's it all been with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's put a lot of hard work in this training camp. So I put him around a lot of training partners that get me ready for my fight, around Cub Swanson, around the training lab, classic fight team. So he was around a good solid amount of people that know what they're doing on the MMA, and he's going to showcase that this weekend, and I'm super excited for him.
Hell yeah, man. Going to be a good time. And I don't think we talked about him last time a little bit, right? But I don't think I asked you, like, is the communication difficult? Like, is he picking up English pretty good, or what's it kind of like in that regard, man?
Yeah, I mean, fighting is definitely a lot more intimate than just like working a job with someone, right? Because
Yeah.
you're punching each other in the face, you're reading each other's emotion. So the communication is actually like untalked, right? Like
Uh-huh.
we're still trying to like communicate with each other. I'm picking up a little bit of Japanese, he's picking up a little bit of English. So and then together we just make it work.
It's like a physical sign language, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What are some phrases that you've picked up on, man? You gotta show off now a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like little things that I pick up on when you tell them, "Oh, I just need a little bit." It's like choto, or you tell
Okay.
them saying thank you, hi, and bye, and are you hungry, and just little in the moment type things that come. Okay, you hear me
Okay.
better?
Yes, there we go. There we go. But yeah, the
So I was
phrase.
saying, when we communicate, is just he's teaching me some Japanese sayings or little things that I ask him, like, hey, how do you say this in Japanese, and try to memorize it. And it'll just come up sometimes out of the blue, right? Where like right now, getting put on the spot, it's hard to think of like what to say, but but at the end of the day, it's cool, man. I mean, learn someone else's culture, kind of pick up on the type of personality he has. It's definitely different, right?
Yeah, totally. I know. I would ask Shingo every now and then for some phrases, and one that stuck with me. It's probably not good. I mean, it is if I'm looking for a good time, but I remember how to say, where can I get a beer?" Which is "Biro wa doka desu ka?" So I got that one in the back pocket.
Yeah, perfect.
It's a good one. But man, all right, Juan. I mean, I gotta ask you, about the last fight, unfortunately, brother. But
Yeah.
good effort out there. Crazy time, I'm sure. Let's just start from the beginning, man. Like once you got there, like take me through the timeline. Like what kind of happened with Fight Week and everything, man.
I mean, it was a good training camp, right? Where you're always hoping for a great, safe training camp, which it was. I came to Japan the lightest I've ever been, like cutting down to 130 or 134, cutting down a bantamweight. And I just got here and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And then Wednesday hit and I started like losing my appetite, because usually I'm like eating a little bit
Right.
and even drink. Or I'm sorry, it was Tuesday night. It came and then I couldn't eat my food. I was trying to eat, and then it just nothing would stay down. And then I started dry heaving that night, like really bad, and nothing was coming up. I was like, man, I don't feel good. Even my wife was like trying to force feed me and trying to force fluids down me, but I was like, I couldn't. I would work out, and then I would sleep for about like 12 hours, and it was just one of those unfortunate things. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it through this. I'm here to fight, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
not here to back out. And then because this fight already got postponed,
Mhm.
and so like no idea in my head that I was gonna pull out at all, right? It was just like just go through it, and whatever happens happens. Well, cutting weight all the way up to the last second, just stopped sweating, and it was just like unfortunate. And called the promotion and said, hey guys, like I'm not going to make weight. I've been trying. It's not a lack of effort. It's just I haven't been able. My body just rose up on me and won't sweat anymore. They're like, all right, well, come down and weigh in, and we'll try to figure this out. And so they did, right? And then stepped on the scale. It was like really embarrassing for me, right? But nothing. It was out of my hands, and
Right.
so. After asking me like, okay, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm here to fight. I didn't come to not fight, and there was obviously some stipulations that I met, which I was okay with, and just because I wanted to show like I didn't come here just to miss weight and avoid a fight,
Yeah.
and we put on a great show still. I felt like the performance was still well put together, and on my end, and he just caught me with a nice timing knee that down the middle, that is just MMA game of inches,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean, props to him on his part. I was just thankful and grateful for the opportunity to still go out there in a arena full of people to do what I love best, which is go compete and show my martial arts.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was kind of a crazy, thing to follow from my perspective, as things were pretty unclear until like fight day. But I mean, with you missing weight and, just knowing you, man, your whole career, like, with that's an unheard of thing, right? Like, you've gone through all the weight classes, doesn't matter when, you're the guy who's going to make that. So, when I heard that, it's like, it's not a lack of discipline thing. It's got to be some kind of freak it's in it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the reason why everything was so uncertain was, and even like the crowd knowing, is because I waited an hour in before the fight, So, and which I agreed to, right? I wanted to do to show my dedication to the martial arts. Just like, look, I missed weight, I understand, and I'll abide by any stipulation you want to put in there, because I would do the same, right?
Yeah.
If I was putting like, okay, well, this is a big fight, it's a title fight, and this could mess up my career type deal, So, again, I wasn't here to miss weight. I wanted to make so me showing them that I would still stick with the rehydration stipulations that they put in were fine with me.
Was that kind of like difficult going through? I mean, obviously difficult to have to do it in the first place, but like, was it pretty smooth from your end? Like I said, uncertain from the outside perspective, but for you, it was like, all right, I'm going to do this, pretty in check with everything, or?
Yeah, it definitely was pretty smooth, right? It's just like not, fully eating, like still to a caloric deficit that my body's usually used to, and then the fluids, right? That's what weighs the most, is you're wanting to consume so much fluid because we dehydrate ourselves so much. But it's just part of the sport, that people don't get to see the background, but I was game for it.
Yeah. So, like, man, yeah, the fight was still incredible, great performance, like you said, and I mean, it didn't seem to affect like your performance in terms of, your body or like depleting you or anything. Maybe more aggressive because of the nature of you wanting to maybe make up for it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I put my body through misery through training camp so that when fight night comes, it's nothing like my training camp has been. And that just goes to show, that I practice what I preach, right? I'm not going to go out there, and the worst feeling in the world is to gas out in the fight. And I don't ever want to feel that, even like there's been multiple times I fought sick too. And I just weathered through it and just knew that, I'm ready. My gas tank is endless for a reason.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't think of a single moment where you've gotten close to gassing out. But I mean, that's easy to say from, watching you. But is there a fight you'd say you got the closest you've gotten to being like, I'm feeling pretty tired right now?
Yeah. The fight that I had like 103-degree fever, right? That I was out there.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Like, holy smokes, this is crazy. Broke my my right hand, and it was just like, holy smoke, this end soon enough, But
jeez.
Yeah.
That's fighting for you, man.
Only fight, but those are cool stories, right? Like you get to tell people, like, hey, this is the adversity that I'm able to push through because I want to see people do it too. I'm not going to tell someone to do something I wouldn't do.
Right, for sure, man.
But not to do what I did do, because one training partners, he got really sick when he was in Russia, and I was like, dude, don't do it. We're in Russia, this is definitely a no-go for you, because it wasn't a title fight, right? It was just like a fight that he could put on the back burner. He wasn't on the main card, so I think it was a prelim fight. So it was like, man, just like, let's just set this back another date for you.
Right. Yeah. Kind of less, I don't know, reward versus the risk, or kind of, that situation, right?
co-main event, right? And it's a sold out Saitama Super Arena on New Year's Eve, right? And this fight had already been postponed, and then the whole country's waiting for this fight to happen, right? Like you got to weigh the risk and the reward.
Oh yeah, man, you would have been really the bad guy, against the superstar Kai in Japan.
Right.
It would have been rough.
Which I mean, it kind of would have evened the playing field, right? Like him postponing it
True,
as well, right?
true.
But at the end of the day, this fight needed to happen, and it did, and it played out the way it played out. There's nothing you could change about it, which was good on his part, right? Like I think I think it's a lot more beneficial for him that it played out the way it did.
Yeah, yeah, man. And I mean, there's the story with potential rematch is always going to be a thing for you guys, which would love to see considering how the first fight went. But man, just seeing it now and having fought him, like, would you say he's as good as kind of you expect or anticipated in terms of the amount of time you had to get ready for him and everything, but comparing him to previous opponents, like where's he kind of rank?
I mean, he's definitely good with his timing, but
Yeah.
all I in that fight was like beating him up, like definitely beating him up, and I never felt like I actually there was one time he hit me that I was like, holy smokes, like we're scrapping, like. Because I rewatching the fight, I was just like listening to how hard we were hitting each other, and I was like, man, cracking, like this thing was echoing throughout the arena, which is cool, and it was like, man, that's what a fun fight, what a fun experience,
Yeah,
which
man.
I hope like that leads into his brother, me fighting his brother or something, right? Like, hopefully it leads into more fun fights for the fans that could really want to come in and see it in person or buy the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, of course, man. There's always a world of opportunity out there for you, Juan. So I'm very excited to see what is next for you, man. And so let's talk about that a little bit, right? I know you've got the names in mind. Mikuru, you said there, and you put that out on Twitter like a week ago. I was like, yeah, that would be a great guy. Now he's lined up with Ren, so we got to wait for that one. But have there been like any talks with PFL, man? I'm gonna throw this at you because I've been hearing that you are looking to maybe box in Qatar. What's going on? What can you tell me?
Well, right now, I mean, our traction is so good right now, and with Ryzen that it's a no brainer. The fans pouring the fights out here. There's still a lot of great matchups, to go, especially the 145 division of. I can make my mark here and be a double champ. It seems like KOG is always one step ahead of me while I'm out here, but it just goes to show that I'm he already did it. It's like one of those things when someone runs a 4-minute flat mile and people see it, they're like, oh, I could do it too.
Right.
So person to be the double champ out here, and I want to make that history as well. He did it from 135 to 125. I could do it from 135 to 145, and that just shows how strong the bantamweight division can be, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, as we've talked about before, it's just so fun across the globe, worldwide, man. Just a limitless opponents. So, yeah, it's exciting times. But so then I'm sure you're going to sit down with the boss maybe a little bit, maybe talk about potentially when you can get back in there. When would you want to, ideally? Maybe summertime or something like that?
I mean, it sounds like they got a huge card coming up at the Saitama Super Arena in July.
Yeah.
I mean, if we really pump that up and put a name out there that's gonna help sell those ticket sales and help buy the pay-per-view, I'm all game for it.
Of course, man. And I mentioned the PFL there. Have they reached out or anything? Any talks with them about that stuff?
No, man. I mean, like right now, honestly,
not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, they want me to fight at bantamweight. That's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here in Japan right now, and you're gonna hear some news come out shortly, but right now I'm not at liberty to say, but for right now it's gonna be exciting times here in Japan for sure.
Yeah, man, and then that's what we love to see with that rule set and everything. But I'm curious though, Juan, like if they asked you to, of course the tournament seasons are starting in like 2 weeks, but if they asked you to like fill in for the featherweight tournament or something like that, as like somebody gets hurt or alternate, would you be down for it?
I mean, honestly, if I'll let you know this. I'm putting my eggs all in one basket right now, and that, and like I said, the traction here is phenomenal. So that's where we're looking to do.
All right, I love that, man. That's what I prefer, but people like to know these things. So, but I got to get your thoughts though, man, because we were talking about this like one of the last times we talked as well. But like the Patchy Mix rematch is like makes the most sense. Even still with the loss, I mean, it would have been awesome, champ versus champ type thing, and you're the only guy to have beaten him. Now he's rematching Magomedov instead. Like, just what do you think of that one? I mean, I think a little soon. I would have liked to see him get maybe 2 more wins before fighting Patchy, but if it wasn't going to be you, I don't think I would have gone with him. But just what do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're trying to make a big push for the Dagestanian fighters right now. So, because of the whole, everything's in the Middle East, the Muslim culture and things like that. And I'm sure they would love to kind of continue to build him up like they do with Makachev and the UFC and, Khabib and the UFC as well. So I think that's their push. And if they get it, and it's going to be very rewarding for them as well.
Yeah. Definitely. There's all the business aspects that go into it, right? So, yeah.
Exactly.
But it'll still be fun.
Sense for them to be able to continue to put money in their bank account that they could spend, right?
Yeah. Everything has its logic behind it, right? So we'll see how it goes, man. But all right, Juan, I don't want to keep you too much longer here, brother. I know I got Japan to enjoy and working with Kyohei and the media day stuff, but always great chatting with you, man. And, look forward to what the future holds. Like you said, put the eggs in one basket. Get me excited, man. Always get me excited chatting with you. So
Shingo will be contacting you very soon to throw some more interviews out there that are going to be coming this year. So
yes.
I'm all to let them know.
Yeah, you know it, man. All right, we'll be in touch, Juan. But until then, enjoy, brother.
All right, thank you, Drake. I appreciate your time.
All right, see you, man. And last but not least, we have Kana Watanabe. All right, well, Kana, great to see you again. I mean, I just saw you. I'm surprised that we didn't actually run into each other in San Antonio because I was there at your fight. Congratulations. I mean, just how are you doing? How was the week? How is it being back home? Just tell me how things are after the experience.
渡辺選手、お久しぶりです。お久しぶりでもないんですけども、テキサスで私も会場にいたので、会場に入るかなと思ってたんですけど、会えなかったみたいで、にしても、おめでとうございます。この間の試合、勝利して、今のところどうですか？試合終わって帰国してから。
はい。試合は勝利して、ほっとはしてるんですけど、自分の課題、1本取ることができなかったんで、ちょっと反省して、帰った次の日からもう練習してます。
Yeah, so I'm very happy and relieved that I was able to get the win. But, there are definitely takeaways from that fight. I need to work on my finishing abilities. And, I'm not super satisfied with my performance. So the day after I got back from the States, I started training.
All right, of course, got to keep on keeping on, especially in this tournament format. And we'll talk more about that in a second, of course, Connor. But before we get into it, I got to ask you about kind of the action video. I saw you did some stunt work, some acting before for the Fighter's Flow or whatever it was. Tell me about this video and your action work, action movie planning. It looks like you're getting ready for that kind of stuff.
ちょっと PFL の話は後でするんですけど、まずですね、渡辺選手がスタントの動画みたいのを上げてたじゃないですか。それすごくかっこよくて、それは副業なのか、どういういきさつで動画を撮影するようになったんですか？ちょっとそこの経緯を教えてください。
はい、ちょっと複雑なんですけど、格闘技を始める前にスタントみたいなのをちょっと趣味でやってて、で、格闘技始めてからずっと何年もやってなかったんですけど、その頃のつながりでちょっとお話をいただいて、格闘技をやってるってことで、その格闘技に特化したかっこいいムービーが撮れるんじゃないかっていうのをちょっとお話いただいて、やらせてもらったって感じで、もともとやってたんで、結構つながりはあるっていう状態なんですけど、完全に趣味です。仕事じゃないです。
Yeah, so it's quite complicated, but to make things really short, so before I started getting into MMA, I was doing stunt action as a hobby, and I just kind of got into it a little bit, and but ever since I started fighting, I kind of stepped away from all the stunting and action, but just through some random connections and what I had, this opportunity just came up, and it sounded like fun, and it turned out to be where fighters and athletes got together and put together a cool video. So it's just strictly a hobby. It's nothing. It's not work. I'm not getting paid to do that. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, I remember that we talked about it a little bit before in the past about how that might be a fun thing for you to do after fighting, and very good at it. You know, obviously, as you say, you've dabbled in it before, and then this video was very cool and looked very realistic and was just well done overall. So I want to pull back the curtain a little bit, Kana, but how many times did you have to rehearse it? How many takes did you do?
以前渡辺選手とも話したときに、こう、ファイターとしてのキャリアが終わった後に、アクション映画とかっていいですね、みたいなことをちょっと話したのを覚えてるんですけども、実際にそういう動画が出て、見てみて、本当に素晴らしいものだと思って、完成度がすごく高かったんですけども、ここだけぶっちゃけ、あれ、撮るのに何回撮影しましたか？何テイク？何回 NG 出ましたか？
そうですね。2個動画上がってて、遊園地で撮ったやつは、本当2時間で全部撮って、だから、3テイクぐらい、ドローンを飛ばさなきゃいけなかったんですけど、それも一発勝負でやんなきゃいけなかったんで、なんか本当3回ぐらい、3テイクぐらいで、室内のやつは1日かけてやったんですけど、そんなに NG もなく、すんなり結構本当に、撮る人が上手くてできました。
So there's actually two videos, and the one where we did the shot at the theme park, we only had 2 hours to film the entire thing. So basically everything was one shot. The drone shot, we only had one shot at it. So it was so basically the one at the theme park is made out of 3 shots. And we did 3 shots in 2 hours. The one inside the room, we had all day to film it. But I don't think we retook or reshot too many times. The producer, the cameraman, they're all very professional, and we were able to make a successful video without any outtakes.
All right, that is very impressive then, because with that many people that were involved in it, I was thinking, maybe some people screwed something up. Not you or anything, but when you have that many people involved, you got to get it really, really accurate and spot on, right?
でも本当にあれだけの人数が立ち回る、映像を撮るとなると、本当にみんなが上手じゃないとそんなに一発で決まったりしない。それはもうやっぱりみんなが経験者でみんなうまくやれてたっていうチームワークが良かったってことですね。
そうですね。もう監督さんも本当に日本のトップでやってるアクション監督さんで、日本のスタントマンの方ってすごく技術が高くて優秀な方が多くて、本当そのアクションを作るのも私が技に入りやすいような動きを全部こう組み合わせてくれたので、すごい周りのおかげで自分が引き立ったっていう感じで、本当周りのおかげです。はい。
So everybody I worked with for that shot was super professional. The director was one of the top action movie directors in Japan, and all the other stuntmen, they're so very much professional, and they would move so that I would be able to pull off these difficult moves and stunts. So I was able to perform because everybody else was so much better than me.
All right, makes sense, but again, still did a great job there. And there's a future in it for you, Kana, so you're setting yourself up pretty nicely. But, of course, got to worry about this tournament first. And so let's talk about that Shanna Young win a little bit. I know you said not very fully happy with it, but I'm kind of curious what your takeaways are, because you did have several moments in the fight where you were close to getting some submissions. So I'm sure that's something that you can maybe credit her for her toughness there and not getting submitted by you, but you had some of those, bright spots. I'm just curious, what you would say the biggest takeaways were, I guess, from the performance.
渡辺選手、本当に役者の方も素晴らしかったので、そこのキャリアでも将来は明るいと思いますので、それは後で話すとして、じゃあ今度ですね、PFL の話したいと思うんですけれども、この間の試合、ヤング選手との試合、ご自身でそこまで納得してない課題が残る試合だっていうふうにおっしゃってましたけれども、それでも、一本近いな、一本取れそうな状況は、いくつか、作ったと思います。なので、そういう中では、ヤング選手のこのタフさと防御力っていうものをある程度評価してもいいのかなと思いますが、全体的に見て渡辺選手、試合で、課題となった部分、浮き彫りになった部分っていうのは具体的にどういうものだったでしょうか？
まずはフィニッシュをちょっと、不十分な状態で急ぎすぎてしまったっていうところと、やっぱバックコントロールをずっと課題で練習してるんですけど、そこの部分がまだうまくポジショニングが乗りすぎちゃったり、ちょっと横にずれすぎちゃったりとか、細かい修正が、大まかなことはできてきたんですけど、細かい修正がちょっとまだ必要かなっていうところで、あと、下からの関節技のアタックとかもそうですね。全部、大まかなところはできてるんですけど、細かいその手首の位置とか頭の位置とか、そういうところを修正して、細かいところやっていきたいなっていうのと、あと打撃の部分ですね。大まかに言うと。はい。
So, the takeaways would be, obviously I kind of rushed myself to try to finish the fight. So I tried to finish it in an incomplete position. So that's one of my takeaways. And the other thing is that I've been working on back control a lot during fight camp, and that's one of my things that I need to work on. So when I get back control, sometimes I got a little bit too high. My positioning wasn't perfect. So it's just a small adjustments that I need to work on. I think I have the big picture. Like I know what I can do. I can get myself into that position, but it's the small details that I need to work on. It's the wrist control, hip placement, and all that body placement. All the small details is something I really need to perfect on. And obviously, my striking is something I need to work on as well.
Was it hard to not use elbows in the fight, or kind of did you have to think about that in some of those positions? Because I talked to Liz Carmouche after, and she was saying that was something where in her fight she had moments where she was like wanted to, but she couldn't because of the rules.
試合中に肘禁止っていう部分が渡辺のそこのパフォーマンスに多少なりとも影響したと思いますか？やっぱり肘がないので、コントロールした時にここで打ちたいなと思ったりとか、そういうのはありましたでしょうか？というのも、試合後にリズカルと、話したんですけれども、リズは、何回もそういう場面があって、本当だったらここで肘打ちたいけど打てないっていう部分があったらしくて、ちょっとやりにくかったみたいな。渡辺選手どうでしたか？
自分はもう練習の時から肘は、打たないのをずっとやってきてて、まあみんなそうだと思うんですけど、でも今回はそこまでやりにくさは感じなかったですね。っていうのも、ポジション的にバックにいることが多かったんで、やっぱ肘よりパウンドとフィニッシュを優先してたっていう感じで、あんまり気にならなかったです。
Yeah, so my entire fight camp, getting ready for this fight, I trained specifically not to use elbows. I mean, obviously, I'm sure everybody else is training like that during fight camp, but for me, I didn't really feel that inconvenient with the no elbows rule, because mainly, my goal in this fight was back control, and I wanted to finish the fight. So I had the back most of the times where I obviously can't use elbows. So I was more focused on finishing the fight with a submission and ground and pound. So for me, that fight, I didn't really feel any inconvenience that I couldn't throw elbows.
Of course, that makes sense. It's pretty situational and all about the positions, indeed. And I'm curious, Kana, did your family go to this fight?
ごめんなさい。渡辺選手、今回家族は、来られたんです。
はい、両親来ました。
Yes, my parents came to support.
Okay, I thought so. I thought I saw them in the crowd, and then I know you took the picture afterwards. I mean, was that cool? Did that make the moment more special, for them to come all the way to America and for your PFL debut and this whole thing?
そうですね。多分、渡辺選手の両親らしき方々を会場内に見かけ、あれ、もしかしたらと思ったら、試合後に写真撮ってましたので、やっぱり来たんだと思ったんですけれども、やっぱり渡辺選手からして、こういうふうに、国の地 PFL のデビュー戦、新しいチャレンジに対して、家族が、駆けつけてくれるっていうものは、やはり、普段以上に、特別な力をもらえたりと、特別な、思い出になったでしょうか？
そうですね。やっぱり家族の応援というのはものすごく力になるので、やっぱり格闘技って親から見たらそんなに、なんていうんですかね、見たいものじゃないと思うんですよね。殴り合って。でもそれをしっかり応援して、そういう思いも、飲み込んで応援してくれてるっていうところで、なんかすごく、力になってます。
Yeah, definitely. Having the family there to support is always that gives you that extra boost in spirit level. So yeah, it's always nice to have them there, and especially I'm sure as a parent you don't want to see your child in a fight. I understand that as a parent's point of view, they don't want to see it, but with that said, they understand everything and still chose to come and support what I do. So it means a lot.
When you first got into MMA, Kana, obviously you're coming over from judo and everything, so they were used to seeing you in competitions, but you can't get hurt as badly, I guess, or as frequently in judo as you can in MMA. So did it take them a little bit, like a couple of fights, until they were comfortable with you fighting, or are they still not comfortable, or like was there ever a point where that happened?
渡辺選手はもう柔道から MMA に転向してきたわけなんですけれども、当然その柔道時代はその競技として試合をするっていうのにはもちろんご両親もそれは見慣れていたと思うんですけれども、当然その総合格闘技になるとその怪我のリスクも増える、打撃もあるのでいろんな懸念点がと思うんですけれども、ご両親はその渡辺選手が柔道から MMA にやるって言った時にどういう反応を示したんですか？そしてこう慣れるまで、その今、べて飲み込んだ上で応援してくれてるっていうふうにおっしゃったんですけれども、そういうふうに理解していただけるまでどれくらい時間がかかったのか、それともまだ理解されてないけど応援してくれてるのか、どういう気持ちなんですかね？
そうですね。まずは最初に、柔道を引退して MMA の方をやりたいって言った時はもう私の年も29、8とかで、その後に、結構約束された仕事が、安定した仕事も用意されていたので、結構もう、ちょっと反対ではないですけど、もういいんじゃない？戦わなくてもいいんじゃないみたいな、感じだったんですけど、それでも自分が、やりたいっていうふうに思いを伝えたら、もうじゃあ、応援するっていうふうにも言ってくれて、もうデビュー戦とかからもうずっと毎回、ディズカムシュ戦以外は全部と、例えばベラトールの初戦のアレハンドロ・ララスとディズカムシュの試合以外はもう全部今来てくれてる状態で、もう今は本当に心から納得いくだけやりなさいっていうふうに応援してくれてます。
Yeah, so at first when I retired judo, I was around 28, 29 my age, and I already had a steady, secure job lined up. I was promised a steady income, a steady job. So my parents were like, well, maybe you should think about competing anymore. You've done what you did. There's no need to compete anymore. That's what they said at first, but I pushed back and said, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to pursue. So, once we had that conversation, they fully understood, and they've been very supportive from day one. So they've been at every single one of my fights except for the Alejandro Lara fight and Liz Carmouche fight. But they've been at my fights live ever since.
Okay, that is awesome.
And at this point, they're very supportive, and they want me to pursue my dream until I feel like it's finished.
Absolutely. Love to hear that. And, speaking of kind of the judo aspect there, Kana, like, I'm curious if the PFL format kind of reminds you of your judo days a little bit because of the high activity and, you are guaranteed a lot of fights in 1 year. And in judo, you have so many competitions in those tournaments and everything. And do you kind of like it that way? Just do you see the comparison or anything like that?
渡辺選手はもともと柔道出身ということで、たくさん試合をすることに慣れていると思うんですけれども、この PFL のフォーマットって、柔道とは限らないんですけど、本当に勝ち進めれば年間4試合が約束されて、定期的に試合が確約されている。このシステムっていうのは、渡辺選手にとってありがたいですか？それとも、どういうふうに思いますか？この期間でたくさん試合をやるっていうことに関して、の競技に似ているというか、その試合間隔が短い。いい方に動いてますか？それともどのようにお考えでしょうか？
そうですね。やっぱり今までこんなにデビューした時の最初の1年はめっちゃ試合したんですけど、ここまで試合間隔を詰めてやることがなかったんで、まだ未知の感じなんですけど、まず試合で怪我ができないなっていうのと、しっかり体重とコンディションを維持しなきゃいけないなっていうところに難しさは感じてるんですけど、常に試合を控えてるという状態で、常に なんていうんですかね、興奮している状態なので、そこはすごく楽しいです。はい。
Yeah, so this format, I haven't really competed so many times in 1 year. I mean, obviously, I've only fought one time for this PFL, but um, my first year since I made my MMA debut, I fought a lot. But other than that, I've never fought this many times in a year. So obviously, I can't really speak because I only fought once. But I it really really makes me feel that I cannot get injured. I cannot risk to get injured during a fight or even the preparation. So that that sense is always there where I cannot injure myself, and maintaining my condition and my weight at all times throughout the year. This is something that's new for me, but I'm always in fight camp mode. I know that I'm going to be fighting, so I always have that focus on me where I'm always getting prepared for a fight. And this is a feeling, emotion that I've never felt before. So I'm constantly in fight mode, which is fun. So that is refreshing, and I'm enjoying the moment.
Who would you say impressed you the most out of the other girls who won their fights?
同じ日に戦った、
うん
選手たち、フライ級の選手たちで、誰か特別こう目立った注目すべき選手ってのはいましたか？
そうですね。正直、みんな、やっぱり、あの、クイックシックスが多かったんで、そのフィン、で、判定で勝った選手もディズ・カムーシュ選手なんで、正直全員、すごい強い選手だなと思って、注目してるというより、はい、警戒してます。
Yeah, there were a lot of quick six finishes that night, and obviously the girl who won by decision other than myself is Liz. So I know she's tough, and it's not that somebody stands out. I know that everybody is tough, and I need to be alert. I can't really keep my eye on one fighter. I know that everybody else is game. So they're all really good, and they're all rivals.
And I know you want that Liz rematch, Kana, of course. Do you think it would be best case scenario, like for you to get your rematch in the finals and then, beat her and get redemption for the belt and the $1 million? Does that sound like the perfect story there?
渡辺選手はおそらくこのリズにリベンジしたいっていう気持ちは多分あると思うので、お聞きしたいんですけども、こうリズと戦うのであれば、そのトーナメントの決勝戦でリズ・カルブーシ選手と再戦をして、リベンジを果たして100万ドルを手にするっていうのが最高のシナリオではないでしょうかと思うんですけども、渡辺選手はどう思いますか？
そうですね。もう、それが一番の、最高のシナリオですね。お互い強敵を倒して、決勝で当たって勝ちたいなっていうのは、一番理想ではありますね。はい。
Yeah, that would be definitely the ideal situation. Now, obviously, both of us go through hard fights and beat tough opponents, and then we meet at the finals. And that would be the great narrative, or that would be the great ideal situation for me. Yes.
Yeah, and it's very possible. So it's going to be fun to see if it shakes out. But it was also fun to see before the fight, Kana. I saw that you met Fedor. You got a picture with Fedor. Was that your first time meeting him? And what was that like if it was?
渡辺選手、試合前に、ヒョードルとツーショットを撮ってたんですけれども、
はい。
あれ、初対面ですか？
多分2019年に同じベラトルジャパン大会に多分出たことがあって、面識はないんですけど、見かけたことはあるぐらいで。で、今回セコンドでいらしてたので、たまたま会ったので、写真お願いしたっていう感じで、全然喋れてはないんですけど、はい。一応初対面ではないのかなっていう感じです。
So yeah, we fought both on the same card in Bellator Japan, I think. So I saw him before, but I've never, actually met him or talked to him. Like I saw him around, but I didn't have the opportunity to go talk to him or take pictures. So for this time, he was here as a corner man. So I went over him and asked for a picture, and he let me take a picture. I didn't really communicate with him, but that was my first interaction with Fedor.
All right, very cool. Yeah, I've been around him a couple of times as well, but he's just this kind of scary guy because you're like, oh, it's Fedor, right? Like, do you feel that too?
そうですね。私もヒョードルとは何度か会ってるんですけれども、僕のイメージとしては、なんかヒョードルってこう無口で、しかも、
うん。
すごい、なので、なんかすごい怖いオーラを放ってるんですけれども、渡辺選手はそういうオーラを感じましたか？
いや、なんか物静かな、だなっていう、クールな感じだなっていうのは、もちろん感じたんですけど、でもこ今しかないと思って、ちょっとグイグイ行きました。写真を。
Yeah, he was very quiet, calm, just keeps it cool. So yeah, I couldn't really find the timing to go talk to him, but I had to be aggressive because I knew that this was my only shot opportunity I had. So I was pretty aggressive, and I went over to him and asked for a picture. So
Awesome. Love to hear it. And great picture indeed. And always cool to meet the legends like that, Kana. So awesome stuff. But I got to also ask about Kentaro Hachisu. What is the story with this guy? Because he's got the craziest like beard hair color combo I've maybe ever seen. What is this? And he's making his MMA debut, right? What is the story? Has he been training with you guys for a while, or is he new there? What's up with him?
渡辺選手のにたびたび出てるこの胸毛ニキですか？一体何者なのかとすごく気になって、いつか聞いてみようと思ってたんですけど、今度 MMA デビューをされるということで、彼との関わりっていうか、どういう、ずっと練習仲間だったのか、彼は一体何者なんですか？
めっちゃ面白い。いや、ブレイキングダウンで、もともとプロレスラーで、ブレイキングダウンでちょっと格闘技の試合とかをしていて、本格的に MMA の練習をして試合に出たいっていうことで、ファイターズフローに入会して、一緒にやっているっていうだけですね。はい。特に深い仲ではありません。
Yeah, so yeah, that's a very hilarious question. So he's a former pro wrestler, and he fought in Breaking Down, and after after that experience, he thought that he really wanted to start training and fight in MMA. So after his appearance in Breaking Down, he came to our gym. He became a member, and we've been training with him since. So there's no like nothing really special relationship, but he's just there as we train together.
All right. Yeah, I was curious because he seems like quite the character. I think I've seen him wear like the Goku outfit, a little Super Saiyan-ish, his outfit's like quite a character.
本当です。本当に目立つ、随分キャラが立った人なので、悟空のスーパーサイヤ人の格好してみたりとか、本当にキャラが立ってるので、ついつい興味本位で切ってしまいました。
はい、キャラはすごいんで、あとは実力がついてくればなっていうところなんで、ちょっと注目してあげてください。
Yeah, he definitely has that character. All he needs is a skill to back his character up. So, yeah, he's definitely one, a guy to keep your eye on. So, we'll see what happens.
Yes, well, he's got some good training partners to help him out and improve those skills, Kana. So, on that note, I will let you go. It is always a pleasure getting to chat with you and catch up for a little bit. Congratulations again on the great win. It was awesome to see you fight in person for the first time, and hopefully I can do so again in the future, and especially as the tournament goes on. I wish you the best of luck with it and training all the time for this rapid season that's always going on. So, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Just thanks so much for catching up as always, Kana. A big arigato gozaimashita.
はい、ありがとうございました。またシーズン頑張っていきたいと思います。柏木さん、この後記者会見頑張ってください。
すいません、深入りです。Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much, Drake. Thank you for your kind words. I will work hard and try to do my best to win this season. And yeah, so thank you very much, Drake. We'll see you soon.
All right, Shingo, here we are again. Episode 38, nearing in on 40, and we had to get back to some community questions here as we missed out on the last couple. We've been very busy the past so many months, kicking off 2024 as appropriately as we can. But all right, we'll get into it here just right away with our man Ozeki Jim, who bringing us some questions here. And he wants to catch up a little bit on the Azerbaijan show, Shingo, so he wants to know a little bit about that stuff, that time. As he's asking, I thought that Ryzen delivered a really impressive product with the event. The look and feel of the event had the same high quality production as usual, but how did it all come together?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. And second of all, thank you that, for the compliments saying it looked different. I mean, it looked the same. In our eyes, it looked a bit different. The camera angles, the quality of the camera work, the lighting, sound,
The
there's
little things, right?
little things. Yeah. When you look at the final product, you're like, yeah. But obviously, there's a lot of things that we need to work on. It was a first time for everything. But how did that all come along? Um, it was more of Coach Ruslan, the team coach, has been, he's been telling us that, he knows people. There's certain people that he wants us to meet. Saka Kibar and myself, we went over there to Azerbaijan and kind of sat down with the people that he told us to meet with. And there were some government officials in there, and there were some very high level. Um, they pretty much introduced us to the company that runs events, like government funded events in Azerbaijan. So we figured that we were introduced to the right people, started negotiating the details, and just kind of fell in place.
Yeah, and it was another good show as always. But of course, you of all people will notice the finer details like you were mentioning. So I'm sure some people didn't even notice that stuff, but it's just how it is, right? Um, and I feel like we talked about this already, Shingo, whether it was on the show or not. But he is also asking, was it the typical Ryzen team, or did they have to use local workers? Did anything not go to plan?
Well, I mean, if we were to bring our entire staff that produces our event in Tokyo, in Japan, over to Azerbaijan, that cost, the expense would
Right.
be enormous. We put those events together with a big team, a lot of staff, and obviously there were certain things due to the budget and expenses we had to compromise in a way. So, majority of our staff, production staff, didn't go there. It was done between meetings and a lot of pre-event meetings and just rehearsals, and that was the idea. But what didn't go as planned was those meetings really didn't happen. So that was a that was a that was a that was a big that was something that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
If we're going to take our production team there, we might as well have a bunch of meetings to make sure that it's going to look like Rise. But I don't know. Maybe it was a time difference. Maybe it was a cultural thing. We're not quite sure.
A lot of factors, yeah.
We didn't really get as many fruitful meetings as we wanted to before we flew into Azerbaijan. So there are a lot of things had to be situated on site once you get on the ground, and overall, it's good that it looked nice.
So that's a great segue, as he had this question already in here. But any lessons learned for future international events? I mean, maybe certain managements like you mentioned there, but I guess in terms of the lessons.
Yeah, I think it's more communication than anything. Because once the show starts, the event kind of runs itself, right? Everybody knows to play their part. Everybody knows how to run the show. Everybody knows where they're at. So once the event starts, it's like a smooth operating machine. Because culture or not, a fight's a fight, and an MMA show is an MMA show. It's just about the quality and how you run it. So everybody pretty much knows what to do once the event starts full. But I guess all the hard work is done before that, and it's all the planning, pre-planning, and getting over the different cultures, and just understanding the culture of who you're going to be working with, understanding the team, and just communication, just like anything else.
All right, so that was the last of Oseki Jim's questions. Thank you for those, but I'll springboard off that though, Shingo. Is there? I'm sure. I mean, it might be early, but think you'll end up going back. Think there'll be a second show. Kind of depends, of course, on a lot of things, right? But happy enough with the potential there for a sequel or something else.
Yeah, I mean, the people we work with over there, they're very excited with the product. They were very eager to do another one. I guess they were pretty much used to having fights where the local fan favorite wins.
Mm.
They get those types of events all the time.
Yeah.
But what was really nice about the Rising event was that didn't happen.
Mm.
You know, Azerbaijan fighters fought. It was a 5-versus-5, Azerbaijan versus the world, and they went 2-3, right?
Mm.
So overall, you know, the Team Azerbaijan lost.
I feel like that always happens in those types of situations, isn't it? Where like, you know, the home place or whoever's turf it's on, they never end up winning.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of the times, you know, the promoters make sure it happens.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, their culture, you know, they were used to that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, but the whole upset happening in the main event with the title fight, you know, a lot of the fans, the people involved, they went home devastated. You know, and that does not happen with any sports. And they're not, you know, the people over there, they're not used to it. They paid their money to come to a show to watch their local hero fight, win, and they go home devastated. Like
dead silent.
New, right? So, you know, so from the local promoter's point of view, like, dude, if we do another one, the people who went back devastated, they will come back again.
Especially,
you know, it's that they will come back again. So, yeah, there's definitely a demand. I think so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially if timing can line up, you know, for a rematch to work out, you know, presumably whenever that would be huge, you know, for them and everything, and build the excitement, all that fun stuff. But that's a fun way to get into just talking a little bit about Rizin 46, Shingo, because actually on this episode we didn't have any fighters guesting on the show that are fighting this week, but of course Suzuki won in that Azerbaijan main event, so this rolls together beautifully. But man, just sell us a little bit, Shingo, since that's part of your job, right? Let's talk about 46. Which fights or, you know, whatnot you most excited for, you think people should watch out for, aside from the obvious one in the main event there?
Let's see. What do we have for the main event? I mean, what do we have for Rizin 46? I honestly believe that this one's definitely flying under the radar. There are a lot of well-matched fights on this card, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually personally very interested in former featherweight champion Kentaro Ushiku coming down to bantamweight, facing Shinobu Ota, a former Olympian.
Yeah.
I honestly think that this is a really, really good matchup. And I'm not sure if it's going to be interesting or not, but the outcome itself is going to be very interesting, because you can never underestimate an Olympic wrestler.
Yeah.
Right. We all know that. Obviously, Bo Nickel's not an Olympic. I mean, we saw what happened, you know, for the UFC. I mean, all these great wrestlers, you know,
standouts.
It's something you cannot look down on. And Ota he's a born and bred Rizin MMA fighter, and he's definitely been climbing those steps. And Ushiku coming down from featherweight, coming down to bantamweight, and Ushiku is one of those well-rounded fighters that can pretty much neutralize Ota's strengths with experience and technique.
Yeah. So
as far as a fight goes, you know, Ushiku has the tools to beat Ota, but it's more on how rapidly has Ota evolved. I think that's the biggest, you know, key point for this fight. He's an Olympic medalist, silver medalist, and he has been training. Well, that's all he does.
Yeah.
And that's all he does every day. And you can just only imagine the rate he's growing at.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not an easy first fight at bantamweight for Ushiku. You know, a lot of times when fighters come down a weight class, you know, they have the advantage of being the bigger and stronger guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Ushiku's going to have any of that in this fight. I mean, he's probably going to be the bigger one, but he's not going to be the stronger one. He's not going to have that. You know? And Ota's used to being the smaller guy. He's always used to being the smaller, shorter guy. So there's nothing new that Ushiku is going to bring to Ota that Ota hasn't seen. So I think it's more of a challenge on Ushiku than it is to Ota. But on paper, it's going to look like Ushi's going to win. Easily.
Yeah.
So this is one of those fun things. I mean, I don't think Ota's like the greatest MMA fighter yet, but he sure has that potential of becoming one. So
right.
For me, it's very interesting to see how, you know, the steps he's taking. and his opponents that he's been fighting, because it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have our, Japan versus Korea 3-3.
Yeah, those are all great ones.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting stuff. The Japanese, the Asian territory has a lot of talent in the smaller divisions. A lot of divisions have flyweight, bantamweights, and we're gonna have those on full display.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely flying a little bit under the radar, but I mean, there are some great matchups indeed. And man, I love the story that Suzuki has put together. So that main event is going to be super fun. See how he handles somebody. Again, you talk about the experience levels in some of these matchups is kind of interesting, right? With, the main event too, Kanehara versus Suzuki. And then you just mentioned Ushiku there. So a lot to look forward to. But all right, Shingo, before we send it on home here, I think this is a fun thing to talk about real quick because we did get the announcement, of course, for Horiguchi and Sergio Pettis too, which I want to ask you about this because I'm sure it's a little bit of an interesting spot for Rizin to be in right now where, Horiguchi is between kind of you and PFL, right? And then PFL's not doing their tournament for that division specifically, so then you get the chance to have the Pettis rematch here, which is amazing. Awesome. Looking forward to that. But is it kind of like you have more to work with in that division because those guys are maybe, they're kind of scattered at the moment, you know what I mean, with PFL not having a tournament, and, Juan Archuleta also in kind of a similar boat where he can go over here. So I guess what I'm getting at is, do you have to kind of navigate the PFL guys a little bit right now too?
Yeah, I mean, listen. When co-promotions happen, when a fighter fights for another organization or whatnot, when two promotions collaborate and work together, it makes sense for both parties. You just understand that it probably makes sense for all parties to do this, because if not, it's just going to be like, okay, we're not interested.
Right.
That's all. And here's the thing: it's like no personal feelings, no nothing. It just doesn't make sense for us, although it makes sense for you. So it's like I don't know if I can go into details or not, but it makes sense for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's why we do it, and these things happen. It's a result of goodwill, I guess. Because everybody's benefiting from it. There's nothing real negative that comes out of it. Everyone's going to benefit from it, and that's why we do it. So yes, do we have to navigate through some of them? Yeah, of course we do.
Mm-hmm.
But, I guess whatever idea we have or whatever pitch we do, it makes sense for them. It makes sense for Bellator and PFL at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it happens.
On that note, you guys, that'll wrap up the end of episode 38. We appreciate all the viewers and, of course, Ozeki Jim for, chiming in and catching up on the Azerbaijan stuff, which was a fun old show. And we see the fallout from it here and what happens afterward, thanks to Suzuki fighting this weekend, all that fun stuff. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe, check out Broadened Horizon on MMAmania.com, listen on Spotify, and then, of course, watch the Confession series on Rizin and just keep up with all that good stuff, too. And Rizin 46 this week, you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in as always, and we will see you next time.